שערי מלכי עליון ממלך מלכך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא בורחם לשלום מלכי השלום מלכי עליון ממלך מלכך המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא Shalom Aleichem Shalom Aleichem Bachun Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Min Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Seitchem L'Shalom Malachei Shalom Malachei Elyon Min Melech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu Shalom Shalom
Shabbat Shalom. Before we begin, I'm going to turn it over to our president, Laura Zuckerman, to just share a few security announcements.
Shabbat Shalom again.
Shabbat Shalom.
All right, so first, for safety and courtesy, please silence your cell phones. Don't turn them off, just silence them. So I'd like to point out some safety exits and features. First, always look for the red and green exit lights over the doors. They're mostly green, but some are red. As you can see, there are exits on each side of the bima through the curtains, for those of you close to here. There are also exits at the back end of the social hall. At the side of the sanctuary where you entered, you will find the glass doors that you came through that lead outside, and there are also doors on either side of the lobby that will take you outside to safety. There's a fire extinguisher and an AED near the water fountain in the hall, and another fire extinguisher inside the doors to the sanctuary where you entered. Please take a second now, just to be safe, and look around for the door that's closest to you, please. And for additional feeling of safety, there are cards on the seat backs for some of you and on the seats for the rest of you, which show you the floor plan for the sanctuary and another way to look to how to get out. In the very unlikely event that we evacuate, we will meet at the southwest corner of the parking lot away from the buildings. But of course, we won't need any of this, and we'll have a wonderful evening. So Shabbat Shalom, and thank you for your attention.
Shabbat Shalom. So we're going to begin with a little bit of music to warm up our spirits, get us into the Shabbat mood, to get that Shabbat ruach, that Shabbat energy and spirit into our souls.
So a little message for our TBI usher team. If you could make sure that the ventilation is on. I don't believe it's on right now. That would be great. So I'm going to say a little something brief about the two melodies that I'm going to share. Both are Eastern European melodies. One I think might be more familiar than the other. But the second one is special, especially tonight, because it was arranged and the English words were composed by Judith Kaplan Eisenstein, whose bat mitzvah occurred 100 years ago today. I did not have the honor of ever meeting Judy, but
You were there, right?
I was there. Yeah, I was there. My dad took me when I was very young, but I did meet her father, Rabbi Mordecai Kaplan, when I was quite young. Not as young as I was when I went to the bat mitzvah, but and her husband, Rabbi Dr. Ira Eisenstein. I studied with him in New York. So, Yom Zeh Mechubad. This is the day of great kavod, of great respect about the Shabbat. It's her setting for piano and the English lyrics. But first, I want everybody to join me. I did it, I did it, I died, I died, I died. I did it, I did it, I did it, I did it, I died, I died, I died. I did it, I did it, I died, I died, I died, I died, I died, I did it, I did it, I died, I died, I died, I died, I died, I did it, I did it, I I die die itty die itty die 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 yada die itty die itty die I itty die itty die 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 I itty die itty die I die 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 I die 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 I itty die itty die I die 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 I die die I die die I itty die itty die I die die I itty die itty die 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 itty die itty die itty die I itty die itty die 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 I itty die itty die. Yom ze mechuban mikol yamim mikol yamim ki v'shabbat tzur olamim tzur leolamim sheished yamim ta'aseh mlachtecha yom hashvi'i le'elohecha Shabbat Shabbat lo ta'aseh bo mlocha kekol oseh sheishet yamim. This is the day, beloved day, the day that God has blessed. This is the day God chose to rest, the day God chose to rest. 6 long days you ply your trade, for in 6 days the world was made. But greet the 7th, proud and unafraid, the day God chose to rest. I die 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 I die 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 I die 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 I die 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 I die die I die 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 I die 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 I die 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 die. Mazel tov to Judy.
We turn to pages 2 and 3 in our Siddur. As we bless our Shabbat lights, I'd like to invite up the Mann family to help us to bless our lights, and I invite all of you who are able to do so to please rise. You're going to use this one.
Do the second one.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter the sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us into the acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Asher kirshanu v'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen.
Amen.
You may be seated. Turn to page 20 and 21. This is our opportunity each time we come together before we join in singing Lecha Dodi to take a breath, to help ourselves be present in this space, to have a Chazarat HaShavua, a review of the week, to go back to last Shabbat and just spend just a moment on each day, on its challenges and on its blessings. And then we'll come back together and sing Lecha Dodi on 20 and 21. We'll sing together verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. When we get to verse 9, we'll rise and face the doors from which we entered, and if you're at home, you'll face the door to your home to welcome the Shabbat presence and the Nishama Yetera, the extra soulfulness that travels with us on the Shabbat into our space and into our hearts.
Actually, Rabbi, if you have been with us the last 3 previous Shabbats, you might remember that we turned our hearts eastward when we sang Lecha Dodi and evoked the area of our world where there is conflict and no peace to speak of, though I know that Jews and others are doing the best they can to maintain in peace, and we've turned our hearts that way by using Ukrainian melodies to sing Lecha Dodi. We had a Ukrainian folk song that we did the first 2 weeks. Last week we actually set the tune thanks to my colleague Jack Chomsky, Cantor Jack Chomsky in Yerushalayim. We set it to the Ukrainian national anthem, which is being done all over the Jewish world now as we just pray for peace and pray for safety for those who are so tragically affected by this senseless war. So with that in mind, if you choose to, since it is the Ukrainian national anthem melody, I invite you to rise at this point, or as Rabbi mentioned, at the beginning of verse number 9.
Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat shekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pnei Shabbat nekabla. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Yishmi'anu el hamiuchan. Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem u'tiferet v'litchila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha ki mekor habrahata ve'rosh mikedem nesucha so ma'aseh b'makshavat chila. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Lecha Dodi likrat kala b'nei Shabbat nekabla. Hit'oreri תתעוררי, כי באורך קומי אורי, אורי אורי שדברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
Face the doors.
בואי ושלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובסהולה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה.
You may be seated. On this Shabbat, in addition to just having a wonderful Shabbat together and to celebrating with Camille Mann and her family as she becomes Bat Mitzvah, on this Shabbat we also honor those who are newer, they're not all new, but newer members at Temple Beth Israel who we honor this evening. Some are with us in person, some are with us on Zoom or Facebook. And so I'd like to invite Lori Borer to say a few words on behalf of the membership committee, and then I have a few words to share as well.
Good evening to all of you. On behalf of the membership committee and Temple Beth Israel, we would like to welcome all of our new members. Our committee is just one of the many ways for you to be involved here at TBI. Being present makes a difference. It connects you and it makes you feel good about being here and being Jewish. Whether bunco or Torah study or accounting is your thing, there is something to connect you, I promise. When you are present, you will realize what a welcoming, vibrant community we have. If you ever have questions, my name is Lori Borer, and you can call me anytime. Also, the office is always available. I'm telling you these things because I think I spent 5 years not even knowing where the office was. Once again, the membership committee extends a warm welcome to you all. I would also like to wish our fearless leader of our membership committee, Judy Rose, a speedy recovery. Wish you all a great weekend and enjoy the fragrant blossoms of spring.
I'm going to share a couple of things. I hope that all of our new members, and we'll remind you, but we'll reach out and make a time to meet with me so that I can get to know you. We have gifts for new members, so if you're here this evening, please take one before you leave this evening. And for those who are joining us online, you'll be contacted to get your gift. You'll get a gift too, even if you're not here in person. So, I want to mention by name some are those who have joined our congregation since we've last had a new member Shabbat. Nancy Aden, Derek Amaduri, Carol Bar-Or, Abigail Cook, Jennifer Jaffe, Riley and Emma Lewis, Michael and Agnes Magaha, Zach Miller, Molly Ramos, Ann Rivero and Lourdes Arguelles, Mikhail Shulman and Anastasia Levitin, and Kylie Sykes. And if I missed anybody, I'm sorry about that, but those are that's what I have here. And for all of you, you're welcome. And it's said, one of the ways that we say welcome in Hebrew is that we say Bruchim Habaim. And it's an interesting phrase because really what it means is blessed are those who come. And what I would say is that each person who joins our community, who comes into our community, carries with them many blessings, that you bring blessings to us by being with us and by being part of our community. And so we very much appreciate whether you're new members or whether you're members for 40 years. Each of you, each time you come, Bruchim Habayim, you bring us blessings, allowing us to connect to one another and be part of each other's lives and share Jewish worship and calendar and social justice and ritual and life cycles, events, joyous and sad, all of those things together. It's part of what brings us together as a community. So thank you so much for being here and for offering your presence and your blessing. Shabbat Shalom. We are now going to continue, and I'm going to ask Camille to lead us on page 26 with Chatzi Kaddish.
Yikada v'yikada shemei rabba.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh.
V'chayechon u'vyom echon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael ba'agala ba'agala u'vizman kariv V'imeru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabba Mevorach, Le'olam V'lo Me'almaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yipa'ar V'yirma V'yinaseh, V'yithadar V'yithaleh, V'yithalal, Shemei Dekudashah Berichu Le'ela Mikol Berchata V'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata ta'amira mi'alma v'yimeru. Amen.
Please rise. You're just going to read Baruch Hebrew and then English. Okay? 1, 2, 3.
Baruch Adonai Havarach, Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed. Praise Adonai to and praise is due forever. Praise be Adonai to and praise is due now and forever.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed HaMevorach HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Last 3 lines in the Hebrew on page 30.
El Chai v'Kayam Tamid v'Chaleinu Le'olam Va'ed Baruch Ata Adonai
Baruch Shema.
Amariv Aravim.
We continue on page 34, 35 with Shema Israel. Just read it.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Hear, O Israel, Adonai is our God, Adonai is one. Blessed is God's glorious majesty forever and ever.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto, Le'olam Va'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
We continue on page 36. You may be seated.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר נוהים מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Adonai Elohechem, Amen.
We continue on page 40 with Mi Chamocha, our song of freedom.
Kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar b'hakodesh, Torah tehilot, osei felech, malechutecha ra'u banecha bokei hayam, libnei Moshe uMiriam. Eli anu yeru Adonai imlo leolam va'ed. Yalla la 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 la. La 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 la. Ya la la ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. V'ne'emar kifad Adonai et Yaakov ugalo miyad chazak mimenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Baruch Shemo.
Gal Yisrael.
Amen. Turn to page 42. We envision and pray for a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace to shelter us and the world. We pray that we're able to be in a place in our lives and in the world, a place of shlemut, a place of shalom, of wholeness and peace, and that we wake up each day, as it says in this text, l'chaim, to life, but for me, to a sense of purpose, to a sense of mission each day. That for me, we ask God to cover us with a Sukkot Shalom, a shelter of peace. And then it talks about letting us wake up, l'chaim, to life. And it's, for me, a sense of partnership that we need to wake up each day and do what we can to bring wholeness to the world, together with God, to bring that sense of wholeness and peace. Hashkivenu, page 42.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom Ve'amidenu shomreinu lechaim Ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha Ushmor tzeitenu uvoenu Ufros aleinu Sukkot shlomecha u'shmor tzeitenu u'oenu Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom V'hamidenu shomreinu Baruch atah Adonai Haporei Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael Ve'al Yerushalayim
Shabbat gives us a place to take a breath each week, a place to reconnect to our deepest selves, to our community, to God. Shabbat gives us an opportunity to renew so that as we enter into a new week, we can do so with a sense of meaning and purpose. And we give thanks for this gift of Shabbat. Vishamru, page 44.
Vishamru v'nei Yisrael את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם.
Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, rebuild a weakened will. We continue with our Amidah, beginning on page 46. Ask those who are able to please rise, and Camille will lead us.
Adonai sevatai tiftach ufi agitei latecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise.
Page 48.
Baruch
atah
Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor V'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'Konei Hakol, Zocher HaSte'avot V'Imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ezrat Sarah.
Page 50.
Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, B'chayei HaKol Atah, Ra V'Hoshia, Mashiv HaRuach, U'morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chayim B'chesed, B'chayei HaKol B'rachamim Rabim, Somech Nofli V'rofech Olim, U'matzir Asurim, U'mekayem Emunato L'shteinei Afar. Michamocha Baal Gevurot Umidom Elav, Melech Memid Umechayeh Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'Hachayot HaKol. Baruch atah Adonai Mechayeh
page 52. You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Baruch atah Adonai,
Baruch Shemo.
Ha'el HaKadosh.
Amen.
Please take a few moments for silent prayer for the text of your own heart, or you can use the words of the Siddur, the prayer book, through page 62, 63. When you're through, please be seated.
Shabbat Shalom to everybody. Shabbat Shalom. The words to the poem Shabbat HaMalkah were written by Chaim Nachman Bialik as a poem. And this particular setting you may recognize. I have played it before numerous times, even at high holidays with a violin, so you may recognize it. It's Shabbat HaMalkah literally translates Sabbath Queen, so it's obviously a prayer that deals with welcoming the Sabbath and all of the rest and peace that goes with that. So this setting is by cantor Natalie Young, who is a cantor in South Orange County, and this is Shabbat HaMalkah.
When I'm at home, sometimes I have to take out the trash. And it's just something we all have to do, right, sometimes. But these aren't the clothes that I wear usually when I take out the trash. And in our Torah portion, we have this interesting juxtaposition of clothing. The priest, as we know from earlier Torah portions, and we'll read about it more in the book of Leviticus, wore all sorts of special clothing when they served the temple. They had to wear a special breastplate, and they even the high priest wore little bells on the tunic that the priest wore, and it had to be a special kind of cloth and all sorts of things because the priest was engaged in a holy work. And that, the old saying was probably the clothes made the man, but I would say what we wear has some effect on who we are in the world. More sometimes, less sometimes, but some effect, right, on who we are in the world. And which is why most of us are wearing different clothes to services this evening than we might wear if we were gardening in the yard, right? Because there's a sense that when we dress up a little nicer, we create a different environment, not only for the people around us, but even for ourselves, right? We feel different when we give a different level of kavod, of honor, to a situation by the way we dress. So now the turn. As this Torah portion opens, the question arises about what to do with all the ashes and junk left after the burnt parts of the offering are done. Most particularly, they're talking about the remains of the korban olah, which were to remain on the altar all night. And you would think that Aaron would designate a cleanup crew, right, to go in after it's all over and take care of the mess. But that's not what happens. The Torah says, the Kohen shall, not just a Kohen, but the Kohen. Aaron will do it himself, right? Aaron is commanded to change into a tunic and collect the ashes and remains from the altar, from the Mizbeach. And then he's supposed to change clothes again into something like a coverall and take it all outside the camp. We have to understand this isn't a small thing. This isn't like just, cleaning your barbecue grill or something like that. At the end of a given day, there could have been thousands of burnt offerings. If Aaron had it almost seems like Aaron, in today you would go in with like your tractor, right? And you'd pick up all of this stuff to drive it out where you could dump it. But Aaron had to go in with all the filth with his golden shovel, maybe with a cart to help him, and take out all this stuff himself. In the future, the task would continue to be awarded to the person serving as the Kohen Gadol, the high priest. There are some who believe that the commandment means that the Kohen was merely responsible for the cleanup. However, according to Rashi and some other midrashim, rabbinic commentary, it says, why should the Kohen Gadol change his clothes if he wasn't the one who was supposed to be doing the removing? So we have to remember that the ashes and the remains are still holy. Nobody else is supposed to have anything to do with them, right? Only the priest could offer these sacrifices. By contrast, and according to Maimonides, the wording suggests, and maybe it helps if you know the Hebrew here, that a Kohen would be responsible for keeping the flame on the altar, not necessarily the high priest himself, rising early in the morning, kindling new logs for the fire and keeping it burning all night. But the disposal is the job of the high priest, of the Kohen Gadol. So it's sort of an interesting question, interesting concept here. There is holiness attached to the ashes and the remains, and so it has to be the Kohen Gadol. And the second piece I want to kind of point out here is that we saw Aaron in his magnificent adornments while he officiated at worship, because it was important to signify his role. He played an important place. And yet, the high priest can't afford to become aloof from the people that he serves. There's a Hasidic teaching I've told many, many times from this bima that says, in one pocket, you carry the note that says, the whole world was created for my sake, and in the other pocket, I am but dust and ashes. Right? And the wisdom is knowing which note you need to pull out when, right? Which you need to read when. And perhaps the taking out of the remains of all the soot and the burn and the things is to remind the high priest that while you have this exalted role, you're actually also still just a person, right? And it reminds me, many, many years ago, I started the conversation talking about taking out the garbage. Years and years ago, somebody asked Karen, they said, what do you call your husband at home? Do you call him Rabbi? And Karen said, only when I say, Rabbi, take out the trash. So I think the rabbis learn and teach two lessons here: the importance of dressing for an occasion, of the transformation that it can make for yourself, and in symbol that the high priest, when is in his priestly role, needs to be dressed a certain way. He represents the people. He represents the connection between the people and God. And yet, even the greatest among us need to understand that they are human. And as such, we all have obligations to just be a mensch and do what needs to be done in the world each day. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to turn now to page 253, and our thoughts go to all of those in our lives, in our community, in the world, who are in need of healing of body, healing of mind, healing of spirit. We join in Misha Berach.
O Holy One, blessed our mothers, blessed our fathers from ancient days. Bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer when we say their names. HaKadosh Baruch Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lehachzikam Ulrapeotam Ve'yishlach lahem Refuat Shlema Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'toch Sha'ar Cholei Israel. Oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names.
We ask for blessings upon Rebecca Gilman, Hannah Fields Austin, Sue Tobak, Rosin Lefkowitz, Helen Weinfeld, Pam Poliakoff, Connie Shapiro, Kathy Blumenfeld, Caitlin Antrim, Judith Bosworth, Kathy Brewster, Jennifer Rudin, Marion Snyders, Kimberly Zimmerman, Brad Holland, Beatrice Caden, Serena Postal, Bobby Kay, Marilyn Freeman, Robert Strober, Marilyn Lubarsky, Ellery Einstein, Patricia Kramer, James Cecile, Esther Bespris, Joan Morse, Nomi Kravitz, Craig Sachs, Simon Saul, Blair Pollock, Myra White, David Grossman, Lori Snyder, Jeremy Knoller, Charity Razaday, Mike Klein, Lily Morrison, Sarah Kojman, Richard Handley, Barbara Fass, Jessica Calderwood-Kubel, Joel Beasy, Burton Gershman, Nancy Berlant, Nancy Aiden, Janet Barong, Paula Steinbach, David Bush, Howard Bush, Sandy Aaron, Dana Sundin, Lawson Spicer, Mark Fenton, Judy Rose, Toyasha Sabag, Bill Archer, and
Mary Ellen DeMarco.
HaKadosh Baruch Yemalei Rachamim Aleichem. Oh, bless and heal those in our hearts, and hear our prayer as we say their names.
I'd like to invite our TBI president, Laura Zuckerman, to come and share a few announcements.
All right, take your time. Shabbat Shalom again. We have lots of announcements and lots of thank yous. I'll try to be as brief as possible on this wonderful evening. First, everyone online and here, thank you so much for being here. And a special thank you to the many Board of Trustees members who are here tonight in support of all of our members and everything that's going on. It's really very much appreciated. And Toda Rabbah to Rabbi for leading us in such a wonderful service, to Cantor Bush for providing always richness in music and voice, and Dr. Randy Polavoy for yet another wonderful music performance. And also, of course, to Claudia Gonzalez, who handles the technology with such ease. To our outdoor greeters tonight, Phil Mendelson and Katie Loeb on the driveway, Courtney Medina and Lauren Namath outside the door, keeping us greeted and safe. And our indoor greeters, Debbie Harris, Beth Litton, and Deborah Norden. Thank you. Appreciation to Sharon Regalado, Phyllis Blackie for challah duty, and Debbie Harris for providing Debbie's brownies, which we'll enjoy later. Thank you to Lori Borer for your delightful words about our most wonderful recent members and the membership committee, which is led so superbly by Judy Rose. And just bear with me here. We have lots of people in membership who did a lot of work tonight, and I just want to acknowledge them. And a special thank you to Phyllis Blackie, who stepped up and led the organization for tonight, and to Vicki Hollander, who did a wonderful job on graphics, and Harriet de Basilio, Lori Borer, and Phyllis for assembling the wonderful gift bags for our new members, and for driving around today, delivering the bags to those who couldn't be here. A thank you to Deborah Kummerman, Beth Litton, and Jane Quatcher. And if I've left anyone out, I am really sorry. Happy birthday, Camille Mann, who will become bat mitzvah tomorrow. Please join us. And thank you so much for beautifully leading us tonight. Okay, so now for the announcements. Those were the thank yous. Please check out our website, our Facebook page, our weekly email updates, and the monthly Kahila. You'll be getting April in about 10 days. Chock full of useful information and announcements. But here's a few for you to note. This Sunday, 3 o'clock in the social hall, join our post-Purim bunko, and I really don't know what that's going to mean. But they like to say, if you can count, you can play. It really is fun. Saturday night, March 26th, a week from tomorrow night, TBI Brotherhood continues the wonderful tradition of a great magic show. This year on Zoom, but it will be as lively and interactive as ever. 7:15, fun for all ages, and they'll follow that on April 1st here with a wonderful, lively Shabbat service in honor of the TBI Brotherhood. April 8th, we will begin once again our wonderful monthly family services in the social hall. I believe in the sanctuary at 6:30. Okay, sorry. And I want to remind everyone who would like the convenience of getting a PCR COVID test that you can get one for free if you have insurance every Monday from 9 to 10:30 at our preschool, our TLCC, right on the campus. Check all those sources I mentioned for the code for you to register if you haven't already. Finally, this year, we will be together here in the social hall to celebrate the second night of Pesach, April 16th, with one of the liveliest seders ever. And I urge you, if you haven't attended, it is really quite a treat. The cantor and the rabbi are at their inspired best. It is wonderful for kids and for grown-ups. So I urge you to look for that information, and if you can come, please do. All right, and that's it. Shabbat Shalom.
Just a couple of, or one maybe quick announcement that, so just check that we have a pre-Passover class, just a two-session class on the Wednesday evenings leading up to Pesach. It will be a multi-access class, so we'll be meeting here and or on Zoom. So we'd love to see you in 3 dimensions, but we will take you any way we can get you. So however that is. So take a look. All the information's in the congregational emails and other kinds of things there. Okay, we're going to turn toward the end of our service for Aleinu L'Shabeach, which is on page 282 in the middle of the page. Ask those who are able to please rise.
עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הרצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Page 287.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו echad.
You may be seated. Page 294. Take a moment to remember those who have been important in our lives and have left this earth, those who have died in recent days or at this time in years past. I'll share the names that we're remembering as a community, and if you're at home and would like to mention somebody you're thinking about in the chat, please feel free to do so. Remember the recent deaths of Norman Scharf, cousin of Adele Harris, Annie Madrid, mother of David Madrid, Robert Heyman, husband of Lisa, father of Noah and Jacob. Remember the Yortzites, the anniversaries of the deaths of John Fiducia, Wally Fields, Leonard Greenfield, Bob Inselberg, Henry Silton, Ilana Belenkoff, Joanne Frazier, Jacob Goldstein, Miriam Siegel, Molly Sofier, Adele Kagan, Deanna Kaufman, Anna Savage, Dave Sudar, Bart Weiss, Barbara Kahn, Rose Marks, Vanny Adler, Jerry Adler, Sherman Babcock, Morris Getty, Mary Ginsberg, Paul Gutman, Anna Hirsch, Mary Lipoloff, Alex Novak, Ida Rubenstein, Harry Shack, William Swede, Arthur Teague, Florence Tobias, Colonel Solomon J. Zoller, Philip Cohn, David Engel, Barney Grossman, Sheila Sherman, Erwin Solitzer, Dario Vatkin, Lou Weiner, Leonard Beasy, Shirley Bryn, Betty Clodfelter, Frida Deutsch, Alice Eckstein, Raymond Goodman, Norma Pass, and Jerry Pruitt. If you're remembering somebody on this Shabbat would like to mention their name or restate a name I've already mentioned, please feel free to do so as I come by your row. If you're in a time of mourning or observing a Yortzeit on the Shabbat, I invite you to please rise. And I invite the rest of the congregation, if it's your custom, to rise and embrace in support of those who mourn. Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah.
Amen.
Bi'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh. V'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. V'agalau v'zman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mivorach le'olam olomei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dukudasha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata da'amiram bi'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shmaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom bimromav hu yaseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be for blessing. And we're going to conclude on page 321.
And by special request, we're going to do a full Adon Olam this evening, a little throwback to something we used to do quite often here at TBI back in the day, and hope you can all join in.
Adon Olam,
Adon Olam,
Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chefsol Kol, Azai Melech Shemon Nikra Adon Olam. Ve'acharei kiglot hakol, Levado yimloch nora Adon Olam. Vehu haya, vehu hove, vehu yeh betifara Adon Olam. Vehu echan, ve'ein sheni, lehamshilo leachbira Adon Olam. Veli reishi, veli tachli, velo ha'oz ve'hamizra Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chefsol Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam. Vehu Eli, V'chai Goali, V'tzur Chevli Be'etzara Adon Olam. Vehu Nisi, Umanosli, Menat Kosi Beyom Mekra Adon Olam. Beyado Afkid Ruchi, Ve'et Ishan Ve'a'ira Adon Olam. Ve'im Ruchi Geviati, Adonai li velo ira Adon Olam. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem Kol, Yitzir Nivra, Le'et Nasa, B'chefsol Kol, Azai Melech Shemo Nikra Adon Olam.
Please join us in the social hall for Kiddush, Motzi, refreshments. Those of you at home, Shabbat Shalom. Thank you for being with us.